Hello and welcome to another video. I'm your coach Kabir and today we're going to be speaking about reality and how we construct our reality around us. You see, everything in our life has no inherent meaning. Events are external. Events like your first kiss, events like the first time you saw a movie, events like a tsunami, events like a hurricane, events like going bankrupt, events like going broke. These are all just events that happen in the external. What you need to do is you have to actually give it an internal meaning. And here's what I mean by that. Let me give you an example. Let's take COVID, for example. COVID is something really recent that happened throughout 2020. Millions of people lost their jobs. Millions of people were homeless. Millions of people were left stranded, not having a source of income, not knowing what to do and not having enough savings in their account to be able to manage. What is the meaning that these people gave it? If you give that a negative meaning, so for example, a lot of people gave it a negative meaning of, oh my God, I've lost my job, everything's coming to an end, what's gonna happen? And then that's the meaning that they chose to give it, and then that's the reality they experienced. People went broke, people went homeless, people weren't able to sustain themselves. However, there were a record number of millionaires made during that same period as well. Why is it that somebody looked at it like this and somebody looked at it like this? It's about the meaning that we give our reality. Events are just external. You have to choose to give it a negative meaning or a positive meaning. And when you make that decision to say, okay, I'm going to look at it this way, instead of looking at it in a negative spin, what happens is that forms something in your brain which allows you to have the resources to then achieve anything that you want to achieve. Another example is, when I started out on my entrepreneur journey, I had no idea what I was doing. I was $35,000 in credit card debt. I took out another $60,000 to get started. Most people looked at me and said I was crazy. I wasn't able to make the payments for the first couple months. I was high on interest, paid a lot of interest, paid all kinds of things. Somebody may look at that and say, you're crazy. Why not just go back and get a job? I chose to look at it from a different perspective. I chose to look at it from the opportunities that I'm allowing myself to now have because of that financial resource that I had. I created a business during 2020 while the entire world was going downhill. Why is it that certain people, including myself, were able to go massively uphill? We did almost $800,000 in revenue during the year of 2020. How is it that I was able to do that while others were suffering? This is the same market, the same people, the same COVID, the same virus, the same world that we live in. The world that we live in is a reality that we create for ourselves. So when something happens to you, so for example, when I talk about me not having a lot of financial resources, how was I able to take that not having financial resources, create a business, create something? There's so much free information on YouTube. I chose to look at it a different way. I chose to educate myself and I chose to start a business and I chose to add value. And as I made those decisions, I created the reality around me. Every time I had a challenge, I don't look at it as a failure. I look at it as a learning lesson. I preserve the positive learning so that if I need them in the future, they'll be there. Think about the events that you've had in life. Think about the experiences that you've had in life. And what is the meaning that you're choosing to give these events? And how is that meaning impacting you in your world today? When you choose to give something a positive meaning, it shows up for you in a different way. When a couple months ago, I had some of my bank accounts frozen and I had a lawsuit on my hands because of some stuff that was going on in my business. How did I choose to look at that? Did I choose to look at it as, oh my God, I've got barely enough money in my bank to be able to survive? Or did I choose to look at the opportunities instead? I traveled to Mexico and I chose to live my life at a cheaper level and I enjoyed that. I lived in hostels. Just over the last couple months, I've been living in hostels. I've been experiencing life from a whole different perspective. When you give life a certain meaning, it shows up for you that way. If I had sat and moped and cried about all the things that were going wrong in my life, guess what would have showed up? More moping, more crying. Wherever intention and focus goes, that's where energy flows. Everything is all about energy. And when you realize that you can control that energy, you truly become empowered and in control of your circumstances. So I'm encouraging you, look at your reality, ask yourself, what is this reality that I'm creating around me? There's always going to be those negative people. There's always going to be things that happen. Life is going to continue to happen. What is important to do is understand that life is not happening to you, it's happening for you. And once you have that change in perspective, that change in mindset, you may start to notice that everything's just going exactly the way it's supposed to. So what if you had a deal that didn't go through too well? So what if you had a death in the family? So what if you did this? So what if that happened? So what? How are you choosing to look at it? If you're choosing to look at it as, oh my God, I'm the victim and I'm not able to achieve 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things, then guess what's going to happen, guys? You're going to end up being the victim. So when you choose to look at things from a different perspective, what I'm asking you to do is shift your model of the world. Think about any event that's happened in the past as well. For example, Let's take your first kiss, for example. As you think of that time, go back to that time now. Think about when you had your first kiss. See what you saw, hear what you heard, feel what you felt. Really feel that feeling that you had during your first kiss. You might even start to notice a gentle inner smile, and it may even show up physically on your outer smile. Why is that? That's because you just stepped into a different state. State management is so important. State energy management is so important. And if I could just make you smile just by going back to a moment in the past that you could remember and you could experience and really feel, then tell me, why is it that we go through life with moping our heads? Why is it that we go through life saying, I hate my job. I really don't want to go into work. Really? It's paying your bills. It's putting a roof over your head. It's allowing you to do the things you want to do. Why do you hate your job so much? And if you go into work every day with that attitude of, I hate my job, I hate my boss, this one's such a so-and-so, this one's such a this one's such a that, then guess what shows up for you? That's what continues to show up for you again and again and again. And some of us are so negative that when it shows up for us negative, we say, see, I told you I couldn't have it. I told you I couldn't build a business. I told you my boss sucks. Really, you created that for yourself. Instead, if your boss came up to you and said something that put you in a slightly negative mood, how about if you shifted that energy instead? Started to look at it as an opportunity. Realize that life is constantly happening for you, and everything that happens, you are truly in control. External circumstances are going to continue to happen. You don't think external circumstances happen to millionaires and billionaires? You don't think Elon Musk has challenges? You don't think Jeff Bezos has challenges? You don't think Donald Trump has challenges? Everybody has challenges. It's how we choose to experience those challenges and the internal meaning that we give it. That meaning that we choose to give it internally is what shows up externally. And when you realize that you're truly in control of all of these meanings, you're truly in control of exactly how you choose to experience life, life becomes a different reality. So think of your reality. Go and reflect internally inside yourself. Ask yourself, what's the reality that you're living? You may be at a point right now where you're still working a 9 to 5. You may be at a point right now where you're still building up your income, building up your assets. So what? You're building it up for the bigger picture. Look at the bigger picture. Look at your reality. See the meaning that you're giving it. You may notice something happens in your life. For example, what about a breakup? That's one that most of us have gone through. When you go through a breakup, most people tend to go, oh my God, no one's ever going to love me again. I can't believe I lost that person. I can't believe it. What if that happened to you for a reason? What if it's happening for you? If you choose to look at it just from a different perspective, life has so much more to offer. When you start to look at it and say, okay, what were the learning lessons? How can I preserve those lessons so that if I need them in the future, they'll be there? And how can I change my reality around that? Reality is a construct of space and time that we create. And when we realize that we are in charge of that, you choose the environment that you're in. You choose the reality that you're in. If you're in an environment of negative people that are constantly going, oh my God, and bitching about life and saying this and that and this and that, that's what's going to show up for you. You have to be conscious of the reality that you choose to surround yourself with, the environment that you choose to surround yourself with. You have to be very conscious about the meaning that you are giving events. Remember, events are just external. You can't control events. What you can control is your internal representation of what those events mean. And when you start to understand this and you start to understand that it's all about state management, about energy management, most of us waste our time managing time. Managing energy is so much more efficient. Think about a time when you were so grateful. Go ahead, do that now. Close your eyes, go back to that time now. Think about a time where you're super grateful. See what you saw, hear what you heard, feel what you felt. Really feel that feeling of gratefulness. And as you feel that feeling of gratefulness filling your heart, filling your soul up, notice how you feel. You may even start to feel a tingling sensation. You see that smile coming about, positive thoughts, positive energy. And just like that, you experienced it. What if you could live in that state, live in that energy throughout your life? Isn't that beautiful? And as you come back into the room, you may even start to realize that you are really in charge of the meaning that you're giving your life, my friends. So the message I'm really trying to give you here today is that you are in charge of your reality. Reality is a construct of what you create between these 2 years. You create your reality. So I'm asking you today, friends, to step out of that negative reality that you've created for yourself and step into a more powerful, a more empowering reality. And when you step into a more empowering reality, you will start to notice a change. People are always going to say things to you. People are always going to keep doing things to you. The world around us is going to keep moving on. Tsunamis, earthquakes, natural disasters are going to continue to happen. What events, what meaning are you giving these events? Recognize the meaning that you're giving it and then shift that meaning. When you shift that meaning, it's shifting in energy. And when you shift that energy into a more powerful, more empowering energy, you start to realize that really life is happening for you, my friends. So leave me in the comments below. Tell me in the comments below, what is one reality that you want to shift today? What is something that you've been giving a negative meaning to that you now want to change into a more positive, empowering meaning? This can happen in anything in life. When I first moved to America, I came here with $25 to my name. I left all my friends, all my family. I came here to America. Most people's dream is to come to America. It was not mine. I lived in a negative reality for a couple months before I realized the opportunity that I had been given. It's how you choose to look at it. Had I chose to live in that negative reality, guess what would have continued showing up for me? When I shifted my mindset, everything changed. So how are you going to shift your mindset? How are you going to become more of an empowered individual to be able to affect yourself and people around you? In this world, contribution, giving is so much more than taking. And when you understand the recipe for happiness, the recipe for everything successful, you start to understand that it's all internal, my friends. Most of us go looking for answers externally. The important part to realize is that answers are not external. Everything you are seeking is internal. When you think of a goal, when you think of something that you're setting in the future, live it as if now. If you're going to have something, why not have it now? Why not live that reality today? Why not experience that reality today? Why not experience that energy today? And when you start to experience that energy, you may start to notice that things around you just seem to fall in place. Isn't that magical? Hasn't that happened to you before? The meaning we give our reality. Have you ever been in a funk before where something negative has happened and you go through your entire day and you're like, see, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. An example of this is traditionally when we go to a restaurant. Maybe one thing goes wrong with the dish or with the food or with the server. And then we suddenly start pointing out everything that's gone wrong. How many of you have done that before? That's right. And then you start giving life a negative meaning. I have a rule with negative emotions. They've got 90 seconds to be in my brain space and then they're out. I model this from successful people. I model this from people like Tony Robbins. He talks about this too, 90 seconds. You have 90 seconds to feel that stress, feel that negative emotion. Cool. Then understand, negative emotions don't serve you. How can you change this into a positive emotion instead? Become resourceful, look at the steps that you can take to get out of that negative emotion, and then do it. Think about another thing. For example, remember the time you fell in love? Or remember the time when you got a huge bonus from work perhaps? Nothing could stop you that day, right? I mean, you could get into a car crash and nothing could stop you. You would be just so positive about everything. Why is that? It's because you chose to live that reality of positive, that reality of abundance. So I'm encouraging you, friends, on a daily basis to live that reality of abundance. Come from that reality of positivity. Embrace that reality upon yourself because you deserve it. And when you realize that, you start to live this reality and then you're like, holy wow, how did this happen? How did this happen? How did all of this happen for me? You created it, my friends. And any successful person that has gone anywhere in life will tell you this. Challenges are not external. Challenges are internal. And when you learn to fight that internal battle, the external one becomes easy. It's true. If you guys enjoyed this video, hit that like button, subscribe down below as well. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you guys want to hear about next. And I'll see you guys in the next one.